Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Podcast. Josh Lander here with 7 games on Thursday night after a decent Wednesday night here where we rode with Brad Thomas. So let's get right into it, looking at how we did on Wednesday as I'm recording this to you just after all these games completely finalized. We had 3 unders, 2 of which hit there on the show. Nick Richards under PRA. Beef Stew, Isaiah Stew also went under rebounds. Had a lot of those under rebound bets in this one. And then we had Gordon Hayward, Gordo, another over. That's like 6 in a row for Gordon without LaMelo Ball for points, rebounds, and assists. Just really whatever you want. He is the focal point of that offense alongside Terry Rozier and Miles Bridges. But Gordon Hayward continues to be a good over. He's probably going to keep seeing his props rise, so be careful with him. Then we've got Jabari Smith. This is my most disappointing aspect of the entire night on Wednesday without failure. I was so fucking mad when this thing didn't hit. He had 4 rebounds going into the fourth quarter. This game was pretty much over. It was garbage time by the middle of the fourth, and he got 6 rebounds to go over 9.5 boards in the fourth quarter of a bullshit ass game. Anyway, no more cussing at the beginning of this thing. He went over. That was not a good hit, apparently. Still had a good read on it. Pacers, 6.5. I can't wait to see Jabari Smith's rebound chances tomorrow. That's my last thing on it. I can't wait to see. I bet it's like 11. 11 rebound chances, and he probably got 10 of them. Moving past that, the Pacers couldn't cover. That was a ridiculous game. I don't know if you saw the video I posted on all of the social medias with Bobby Portis and Thanasis Antetokounmpo going crazy after Andrew Nesmith. Aaron Nesmith went ahead and sort of tackled Giannis. It wasn't as big of a deal as it was made out to be, but either way, that one was sort of just a crap show by the beginning of it, or really by the middle of it. And then when they ran away in the third quarter, did the Bucks. Either way, we went 3-2. We were up plus 0.8 units on that. Brad also had a Desmond Bane bet that got voided because Desmond Bane was a complete late scratch, one of those really weird NBA late scratches that nobody could have predicted. So we tried to get that bet out there, just got voided. So we ended up 3-2. The Playa props were great, 3-1. I do think Bane would have gotten 26 points. There were actually a good amount of points to go around in that game, including for Jaren Jackson Jr. So before we get into our bets for Thursday night, quick look at how we are doing on the season. Feeling pretty good about things now. We did move up another, like I said, 0.8 units. So we're 8.2 up on the season there. Playa props looking really good. Got that record all the way up to 30-19, as well as up 11, basically 10.7 units on the season in this solo show here. Also have the Coast to Coast podcast if you want to check that out with Nate Weitzer, my co-host on thelines.com and their YouTube page. But let's get into my bets here early on as we look at this stuff. Like I said, on Wednesday night, pretty late here on the West Coast. Still have a lot of stuff coming out. I'm getting this stuff out to you early as best I can. Just not everything is available yet, with a couple back-to-backs and some late endings. But I do know that I like rebounds once again, and I'm going over for some boards on a little same game parlay in this Oklahoma City and Sacramento Kings game. So Domantas Sabonis, 12 plus boards in this one against OKC, and then SGA to get 5 plus boards in his matchup against the Kings. And this is just going to be an opportunity for both these guys to take advantage of the weaknesses on the other team. Starting with, really, let's just start with the fact that this is going to be an incredibly fast-paced game and that rebound chances should be galore for a lot of people, especially these two players on these two positions. In terms of fast breaks and transition buckets, both these teams are going to get out and run at a top 5 frequency with which they're running into the fast break. They also are very good defensively on the fast break, are both the Kings and the Thunder. Both of these teams in the top 10 when it comes to limiting points per possession in the transition. And so, let's look at why we like both these for specifically these guys. Sac allows the 5th most rebounds per game to point guards. There's a reason for that. They shoot the most threes, basically. They shoot the 3rd most threes in the league. They're scoring the 3rd most points off of threes of any team in the league, which also means there's longer rebounds, which means taller guards and guys standing around the free throw line and the 3-point line are going to be the ones to get those rebounds more often than not with Sac, who, like I said, is shooting half of their shots basically from deep, meaning there's half of their shots are inducing long rebounds, or at least a quarter of them, let's say. But either way, Shai, if you look at his last game against this team, had 17 rebound chances and 7 boards. His average rebound chance was 8 feet away from the basket, very far. So I know I'm doing a lot of math and digging into this to tell you why Shai is going to get a lot of rebounds, but it's because he's standing on the part of the court where the ball is most likely to land after the Kings might miss a shot, because it's going to be a deeper looking shot. And that's why they do give up all those rebounds to positions like point guards and shooting guards as well for this team, because of all the long boards. OKC allowing the 2nd most rebounds per game to centers. So we look at Domas's rebounds, and he had 13 the last time. He's had 18 against this team in the past. And really, it comes down to his matchup with Chet, which is just not a good matchup for Chet. He's about to get big boyed by Daddy Sabonis, who's technically the son of Arvydas, but he's much older than Chet at this point and much more seasoned, has a little bit more of that dad strength going on than Holmgren does. That's why OKC does give up the second most rebounds per game to centers in the league. Chet's a pretty good offensive rebounder. I considered under 7.5 boards for Chet. He had 7 in their last outing. He's gone over a decent amount. It's a little bit more likely that he goes under, to be honest, even though it's such a low number. And that number does keep getting lower because you've seen Chet rebounds at a much higher number for his prop than 7.5 before. But the Kings are a very good rebounding team. They're very good at limiting centers rebounds. They're very good at limiting offensive rebounds. They they get a lot of defensive rebounds. So either way, Shai, he gets offensive rebound. He's capable of getting offensive rebounds, which is what you want to see. But also he'll get plenty of those defensive rebounds, which is where Sacramento is weakest, in part, once again, because they shoot so from deep. For Domas, though, the Thunder shoot right around the basket. They have the 4th most attempts within 5 feet of any team in the league. That's where Domas is going to clean up and keep getting his boards. He's just going to lick his chops every time there's an opportunity against Chet. He had 26 rebound chances in his last game out against OKC. So I expect plenty more of those, and for him to have at least a 50% rebound success rate on those chances. Let's get this up to about minus 110 on DraftKings. We'll see where it's at in the morning for you guys, but I'm still going to like this around minus 120 or so if that's what it drops. And if you want to hit that over for these two guys on there. Props, 12 boards for Sabonis, 5 for SGA. Second bet here, we're going with a double-double for Ivica Zubac in that Clippers and Warriors game. All right, let's get into it a little bit. Obviously, a lack of Draymond is going to be an impact to this bet. Golden State already allows the 5th most points per game to centers in the league, in part because it's either Draymond or Looney out there. Draymond's undersized. Looney's also kind of undersized and not very fast. Really good rebounder. Not a great one-on-one defender for Kavan. Love you, Loon Dog, but this is just going to be another situation for an opposing center to have success against this Warriors team. No Draymond is going to equal even more trouble down low, especially when it comes to rebounding. So you look at Draymond's on-off numbers and this team's numbers when he's on or off the floor. Unsurprisingly, they have he's got the best on-off numbers when it comes to rebound percentage. When he's on the floor, Golden State has a decent rebound percentage. Still not great, by the way, bottom 10. But when he's off the floor, even worse. That rebounding rate goes down to about right below 50%, which is not what you want especially on those defensive rebounds, where Zubac is probably going to have some success on the offensive boards, which is why I also love the double-double for him to get 10 points. His points prop is at 11.5. His rebounding prop is at about 9.5. You might be able to find a crappy odds on an 8.5 if you want that juice all the way down, like minus 140 for the over 8.5 boards for Zubac, because he should get 10 in this one. And with that, you got to consider the ability for putbacks. But you also love the defensive rebounds for him because of the fact that this Golden State Warriors team is still shooting so poorly. They are still in the bottom 7 in terms of their true shooting percentage. It's just absolutely insane to say that a team that has both Clay and Steph on it, and at one point Draymond, before he went full WWE and lost his mind, get some help day, because you clearly need it emotionally and mentally right now. But without him, it's just going to, even with him on the floor, you expect them to be better at shooting. Without him, to be honest, I know Draymond's not a shooter, but he gets other guys open. And so I'm not very confident in the Warriors' ability to make baskets, especially when Steph's just going to get doubled, tripled. Like Ty Lue's going to have something for his ass. And I don't think it's going to be good for Steph in this one. Also wouldn't bank on a Clay, kind of like an under, although there's a little bit of unknown here. Always unknown with the Clippers. How are they going to play? Zubac brings it every night. And so we'll go with what we know best here, which is that he should get 10 boards, in which case the 10 points should come right along with it. This might be my favorite bet, but I showed you the record here earlier. I'll show it to you again. It's just not good on the sides and totals right now. I've been doing so much better with the props that I understand if you don't want to completely ride with me on this under for the Utah and Portland game. But this is right, man. This is just an incorrect line. So I am going under 231.5. I'd play this under down to about 228.5. Honestly, 229.5 around there for an under in Utah and Portland. And I don't even know who's going to play for Utah at this point. They're coming off of a back-to-back here where they just lost to the Knicks on Wednesday night, right before I recorded this. They finished that game out. Utah is now probably not going to have Markkanen. That news came out right after that game ended that Markkanen, who was already on a 20 to 25 minutes limit in terms of his minute restrictions there in that Wednesday night game against New York, he's already said he's probably not going to play in this one. Walker Kessler was questionable coming into this game. He's probably at least on a minutes restriction on the second leg of a back-to-back. And then John Collins was also out on Wednesday night with an illness. He was questionable to play and then was eventually out. Maybe he plays and Walker sits. Either way, Markkanen's not playing. Jordan Clarkson's not playing, as he's also injured for a couple weeks. They're going to be in trouble in this one big time. Like I said, I don't know who's going to be on the floor for them, but it's not going to be anybody that's capable of scoring too many points. And more, just as importantly as that, nobody is capable of scoring points on the road, apparently, for Utah this season, where they are just a completely different team. They score 118.5 when they play at home in Utah and Salt Lake. They score 105 when they play anywhere on the road against anybody. And I just see plenty more of that tonight against a Portland defense that, like, not that bad. Not that good, but not that bad. 113 points per game that they give up, whether they're on the road or at home, do the Blazers. They actually only score 103 points per game when they're at home. Malcolm Brogdon, for those of you watching on YouTube, can see that he's up here on the screen for a reason. If they don't have Brogdon, I mean, he's got the best on-off numbers for their offensive rating. When he's off the court or not in the game, they score about 4 points less, still playing at a really slow pace. He's the adult in the room, as I like to say. And if he's not in the room or on the floor more specifically, not going to be good for this Blazers offense. So I don't trust either of these teams' defenses. I mean, Utah's defense is pure hot trash on the road. Not very good at home either, but just a steaming pile of garbage on the road. But that doesn't mean that Portland can take advantage of it. It's just like, who's going to be less bad? I don't know. I just know that when you've got two bad teams, man, very, very bad teams, and two very bad offenses, and especially on the road for Utah. Like, I cannot harp on this enough. You got to go with you got to go with less points. You just got to go with an under in this one. So let's close it out here, and I'll run through what we had for best bets. OKC and Sac, we got that same game parlay for Sabonis to get 12 plus rebounds, and SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to get 5 plus rebounds. Ivica Zubac on the Clips to get a double-double. Should get plus 150 on that on DraftKings. Would still take that down to like plus 130, y'all. I don't care if you lose a couple dimes on this on the way down, basically, before you see this, since I'm recording on Wednesday night. Once again, still take that. Utah, Portland, I'm taking an under in that one again. Under 231.5. I would play this once again down even further. It's a back-to-back. I didn't even mention to you how bad Utah's offense has been on back-to-backs. They're 0-4 on the season. Don't hate a sprinkle on Portland with a small spread at home to win. If Malcolm Brogdon is in, go ahead and hit Portland. And hopefully he will be, because he just missed another game on Monday. But we'll see. Either way, that is all the time that I have for you guys. Appreciate you all coming in. I see plenty of new people liking and subscribing, so much appreciated. But continue to do so if you would. I do need to remind you to subscribe to that page. Super helpful. It's everything that makes everything I do here worthwhile, because it helps me get everything I need for making these videos for you guys. Let me know in the comments too. Are you getting what you need? Do you want some more? I don't want to put out picks just for the sake of putting them out, but I want to get stuff out early. That's why you've got only about 3 or 4 picks tonight. But also consider an under on a small lean there. If the Kings and Thunder game continues to rise, it's already gone up in the total. If it gets up to about 245.5, that's where I start going under, and all the value becomes about the under on that one. So appreciate everybody, and until I see you next, happy betting.